Happy New Year's Day, everybody. This is like a special edition of Fab Fit Friday. I couldn't do one a couple weeks ago because I was having technical difficulties, and then the next Friday was Christmas Day, so I elected not to have a Fab Fit Friday on Christmas Day. So I thought what would be fun to do today is take a look back to start the new year. So I planned on organizing a few of my Bernina Wearable Art fashion show entries to show you guys, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to show you my completed road trip wallet along with some commentary on things to look out for when you're working with that. And then I opened up my portfolio, which I have not opened up in a long time. So I found some other fun stuff to share too. So this is going to be like a little show and tell of, stuff that I've done in the past. And we'll start with the most recent thing, the road trip wallet. So let me just switch. All right, so here is my completed road trip wallet, and I have to say I almost never sew other people's patterns and work on other people's designs because I'm so busy working with my own designs. This was pure pleasure. The instructions were amazing, and I really had no trouble putting it together, and the only thing I had to read twice to figure out what was going on was at the very end when you sew around the whole thing and turn it to the right side. But the one thing that I did have trouble with, but it wasn't an instruction issue, was when I was working on the ID pocket. I didn't carefully line up my piece of plastic, so when I sewed around, it didn't catch along one edge, and I couldn't have that. So I took the whole thing apart, and I found some vinyl at Joann's to replace the piece that I screwed up with, because if I took it out successfully, but then to put it back, if I scooched it over so it would catch at the top, a line of stitching would show at the bottom, my first row of stitching. So that wasn't nice. So I did take this apart, and I ended up torturing it a little bit. So if you look closely, you can see it's a little bit crooked, because I had taken it apart and played with it so much. But really, look at how cool this is. You get a zippered pocket there that's lined with that, and then you also get two zippered pockets here. Like, I just think this is such a clever design. I think I'm going to make the small one because I really enjoyed doing this. And if you were following along with me at the beginning, I actually started out with the narrow strap to put a snap with, but then when I got it towards the end, I decided to recut and use the wider piece, and I put a magnetic snap in there. So that's my completed road trip wallet. Hi, Kathy. Oh, Kathy, thank you for joining me. Happy New Year. I think it's just like you and me. I wasn't sure if people were actually going to show up today because, it's a holiday and people probably have other things to do that are possibly more fun than watching me. So thank you for joining me, because I was feeling like I was kind of talking to myself. But, and if you're watching the replay, thank you for watching. And I just want to wish everybody a very happy New Year. This is going to be a wonderful year. I'm going with, things are going to turn it around, and we're going to, start to get things going maybe a little bit back to normal. Hi, Linda. Happy New Year. Thank you for joining me. All right. So if you have any questions about this road trip wallet, please, post your comments below. The one thing I just want to say before I move on to my next topic is all of the lining that's inside here, okay, when you go to sew it together, you put the two pieces of lining right sides together, and you put the card slots and the outside right sides together. So it's like, it's double, and you sew around and you leave a hole in the lining to pull it through. So I did that and I pulled it through, but then what I didn't realize was I had to actually unzip the zippers to actually get it to really pull through so that this side was showing. Because when I first pulled it through, just it was like bagged in the lining. So if you guys are working on this, um, know that you have to unzip the zippers, and I would unzip the zippers before you start to sew the whole thing together at the end, because you have to pull it through the opening in the zippers to get it to be completely right side out. So, but I love this design. Again, I'm giving 5 stars for the instructions. They were excellent. Let me just see who's joining here. Hi, Janie. Oh, Janie says it's snowing here with ice. We might get a little snow and ice tonight, actually. Hi, Carol. Happy New Year. Hi, Sally. Happy New Year. You just received your kit for this January Stitches class? Oh, that's so exciting. All right, don't open it up. I forgot to put a note in there. If you just leave everything in the bag and don't open it, because there are little things folded in with the fabric, so if you take it apart you might lose something. So if you can wait, keep that kit zippered shut. Okay, I'm super excited about that class, so I'm glad you got your kit. All right, so road trip wallet, that's the first thing. All right, so now I'm going to show you some of my Bernina things, but what I want to show you first is I actually did my own fashion show back when I used to work at Manchester Sewing. I planned a fashion show for the Historical Society in Manchester, and really, if all of the wonderful customers at Manchester Sewing and the owners of Manchester Sewing hadn't been so giving and supportive of this project, it would have never happened, because we literally turned one of the classrooms into everything fashion show. And I had customers from the stores helping me sew. I had this spreadsheet of 20 something outfits. And I just want to show you here, I planned different outfits. I went to New York, I bought fabric, and I have scraps here, little samples for different things that I made. So I think these are my sketches. So you can see why I really do not get any points for my sketching ability, but it was fun to kind of look at these. And then the local paper came into the story, so here I am on the cover of Manchester Life, and it was just such a fun time. Let me see if I can find, this was back in 2007. So this was actually the last year I did a Bernina Wearable Art fashion show. So I did this fashion show, plus I had to finish my entry for the Bernina Wearable Arts fashion show, and I'll show you that garment last. I'll do them in chronological order. But see, there I am showing one of the volunteers how to put together pockets. So I had such a good time. See, here we are. There I am in the classroom designing something and showing how to work with the pieces. So there was that. And then, I'll just put this down here. Then this was the poster for the fashion show. And actually, this is one of my wearable art garments for the Bernina fashion show. I'll show you more about that in a minute. But the Reminder News came out and did a story about the fashion show that day. And this is actually my sister, and all her friends were my models. So I thought that was kind of fun. And here's another picture of some of my models, and there I am in my little brown dress I made. It was really an amazing experience, and actually my friend Gail Yellen was my right-hand woman. She did everything. All I did was try to keep all the fabric together. So, if anybody who was there at the fashion show watching this, or anyone who was, at the fashion show, or anyone who helped at the fashion show, I can just want to thank you again, because that was really an amazing experience. And like I said, it would never have happened if I hadn't had so much help from everybody at the store, and all the customers. It was really an amazing event. So I did manage to keep one of the posters. All right, so that happened in 2007 when I had already done a ton of Bernina things. But before the Bernina fashion show, I participated in, for the store, I went to the FOF dealer convention in Las Vegas. And let me just fix something here. Hold on. Hold on. My mouse is like, it only decides to work on certain surfaces. Hold on. I'm just trying to fix my, there we go. I was a little bit out of frame there. All right. All right. So I went to the FOF dealer convention in Las Vegas, probably 2001. And I made this dress to enter into the fashion show, and I used, these are FOF embroidery designs from a FOF embroidery card. Okay, so I used the designs on the dress to enter the fashion show, and I did not win, but I was blown away by the other entries in this fashion show. One of the garments that won that year was a black leather trench coat, and the whole back of it was made to look like a Halloween, a scene from Halloween, and like there were little glass mirrors stitched into it, and it was incredible. So I looked at my dress and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, like I'm not even in the same ballpark with these other people who are doing this fashion show. So I set to work to come up with an idea for the next year for the fashion show. Let me just stop and say hi. Hi, Marcia from Florida, and hi, Madeline. Happy New Year. Happy New Year from North Carolina. Well, Happy New Year from Connecticut. Thank you guys for joining me today. So again, first try at doing a fashion show. Then I found a bustier in Creative Needle magazine, and basically this was just a top in the magazine, and these flowers were hand stitched, and it was on the cover. So I decided that I was going to scan in the shapes of the flowers and digitize them. And back then I was using the old Brother PE design software, and basically I created these embroidery designs stitch by stitch by stitch practically. And then I put them together to make the bouquet that looks very similar to the bustier on the cover of Creative Needle magazine. And then I did along the hem. And then in the back, I created a silk organza train. And this is with it bustled. It hangs down, there's a little train on the dress itself too. And then to attach it to the back waist, I wanted to make silk ribbon flowers. So I ordered like $200 worth of silk ribbon from, oh gosh, I can't think of the name of the company now. They made beautiful bias silk ribbon that you could make into flowers. And of course, I didn't know how to make flowers, so I had to go to like Michael's Craft and buy wire edge ribbon and look at the diagrams from the techniques, and use the wire edge ribbon to crimp and make these flowers. So after I practiced a little bit with the wire edge ribbon, I was able to make the bouquet that is attached to the piece that snaps onto the waistline in the back for the train. So yeah, and so then I packed this dress into a bridal gown storage box. So the cover had a window in it, and all you could see was the top of the dress, and then all of these flowers were right underneath it. And I wanted to get in my car and follow the UPS truck to where it was getting delivered for the entry for the fashion show. So when I got to the fashion show, I had to model this. So I'm not a model, so that was an awkward thing. And they had these big 20-foot screens, like, so you could look from, to the side and see 20 feet of you on either side of the screen when you walk when you walk down the runway. Oh, excuse me. So I did my modeling thing, and then I went in the back, and I was listening for who won my category. I entered creative use of software for this dress. So when the first prize for that had been announced, I kicked my shoes off, and I was already thinking about what I was going to do for next year because I wanted to win because I'm very competitive. Well, then they announced me as I won Best of Show, and I couldn't find my shoes, and it was just like this amazing experience, and I think my face cracked off because I had to smile and stand and let everyone take pictures for the next 2 hours after the fashion show. It was really a fun night. It was amazing. Let me just see here. Oh, Samina would like me to, let me just crop a little closer here. Sorry. All right. Sorry. I'll widen the picture back out after when I move to my actual garments. I'm showing you pictures of some of these earlier things because they're stored somewhere. I just couldn't find them. I know that's terrible, but these things really become space takers after a while. Okay. Oh, thank you. Samina says that's spectacular. Thank you. All right, so that was then. And then the next year was 9/11. And, of course, that was such a horrible thing. And I was very touched by it. And I wanted to do something patriotic, but I didn't want to look like a walking American flag. So my friend Gail actually had a book that had 50 of the state capitol dome architecture. So if you were looking like up into the inside of the dome. So I decided to I think I ended up with 46 different geometric shapes that were all different capitol domes. So there's the front of the dress. There's the top of the Happy New Year, Diane. That's the top of the dress. Here is the back. And this large circular design is the state capitol dome in Washington, D.C. But all of these were just different, unique capitol dome designs. So that was fun. There's the back of the dress without the little bustier jacket on. Or shrug. I think this is a shrug. Yeah. Okay. All right. So then what happened was, after making this dress, I have to say, because I won Best of Show again for this dress. So I started to get evil eyeballs from some of the other ladies who entered the fashion show in Las Vegas. So I decided I would apply to enter the Bernina Wearable Arts Fashion Show. And that's at the Houston Quilt Festival in Houston in November. So I applied, and they said, "Oh yes, you can do it." And I didn't really think it was a big deal. So what I did was I designed this dress and wrap. Okay, and the hem is sort of a lace design that mirrors the embroidery designs. And here's what the back of the dress looks like. And I planned this whole lace panel on silk organza to have it go together to make it look like one big design. And I actually got to wear this dress to a wedding, a very fancy wedding, many moons ago. And it's very glamorous on, I have to say. But it did fit me. Here's what the front of the dress looks like without the wrap. So I was, sitting in the audience with my mother, and they had the finalists come out and my dress was on the runway with the finalists. So they actually made a special, normally for the Bernina Wearable Art Fashion Show, they have viewer's choice, and then they have the first prize. So I guess this particular year the judges liked this enough to create another award called the Judges Choice Award, and they actually awarded me that for this, which was super exciting. My very first day out, or my very first try, it was very exciting. Marcia's asking about the embroidery designs. These are my own original designs, and actually this is where I can start showing you some actual embroidery. So I'm going to put these pictures away, and let me get the wrap. Where do I have that? Oh, all right. So this was in 2003. Now the dress, I don't know where that is. It's somewhere. It's not lost. It's just put away really, really carefully. All right. So this is, I sort of made this origami kind of wrap, and that's my label, Floral Fantasy, Jennifer Stern, 2003. And so the back of the neck, you know, I love to free motion quilt, so here's some examples of my free motion quilting in here. And then what I did was, it was sort of a rectangle, and I was actually two rectangles, and I crushed it together and pleated it and stitched it down. So this is the center back. Okay, and then if I flip it to the front, you know, it wraps around like this. So this would be one side of it. And, you know, these, some of these are Fab decorative stitches in here. Some other maxi stitches I did embroidery. These are my original designs here. These are all my original roses. And the one thing you're going to see again and again in almost all of my embroidery designs is this shiny thread that you can see here. This is Sulky's Hollow Shimmer thread. And instead of it being like a metallic thread, it's actually a very fine filament. It looks like holographic wrapping paper that's been cut into these tiny little ribbons, and it really is nice to work with because it's much more agreeable to your machine than metallic thread can be. But and you can see my signature technique bloomed with this dress. So what I would do is I would actually free motion stitch or scribble between all of the flowers to sort of make a brocade. Okay, so that's where my this technique, this basic idea of embroidering on a surface and then putting batting and free motion scribbling became like, for the next few years, that's what I did. So the things I'm going to show you next will have this similar technique. So this was in 2003. Okay, so then I started thinking about what I wanted to do for the next year, and that I started out with, okay, these are actual sketches of the coat and the dress that I wanted to do for the next year. So those are my sketches. Let me just see here. Oh, wait, Sally says, beautiful and how wonderful to receive awards for your work. Fun to have your mom with you on that day. Well, can I just tell you the funny thing about that? When they announced me as a winner, there were two ladies in front. And of course, you know how I'm a newcomer. Like, this was my first year, so I wasn't in the clique. And I didn't really know any of these other ladies who were also very talented. And so one of them sitting in front of me said to the lady next to her, well, who the blank is that? And my mother actually tapped her on the shoulder and said, that's my daughter. So that's a very fun memory I will always have of my mom. So let me just see here. Bernina allowed contestants to use FAF or other brands of machines. I didn't know that. Well, they did, well, the first year I didn't own a Bernina. I won a Bernina, but it was a very basic machine. So let me show you. Okay, so then another thing I began doing is, you can see here, let me just tighten the view again. All right, so at the time I was also working on my my jean pattern. Okay, so that's back when I was also designing my jeans. I was starting to work on that. So I would always test my designs on a pair of jeans or some other denim project before I started working. So these are some of the designs that I used in the next garment that I'm going to show you. And I have photos of it, and then I'll show you the real coat. Okay, so I tested them on my jeans. Then I embroidered and embroidered and embroidered. So, let me see. So this is the back of the dress. I did beading with my very good friend Mary Beth Pfeiffer. She helped me. And here's a close-up of a sleeve. This is kind of dark, but I have this actual coat, so I'm going to be showing it to you. But just so you can see the whole design of it, this is the front. Here's the back. Oh, the side. Look at the side view. Side view. Here's the back. There's a full view of the dress that went underneath it. It's just a plain black silk crepe dress with the beading on the strap. It was very plain. So those are the pictures. And when I got to the fashion show, I knew it was going to be an exciting night for me because my dress was on the cover of the program. So this was like super exciting. And this model, I thought she was 10 feet tall. Like after the fashion show, she came running up to me and she said, if we didn't win, I was going to run away with your dress. And I was like, oh my God. But this one was called The Oscar Goes To. And I won Viewer's Choice for this, and it was such an exciting, fun night. You can just see, if I just take a minute and show you in this, just quickly go through, there are so many other beautiful designs, and by now I had become friends with some of these other ladies. I really don't know how the judges could pick, to be honest with you. There were so many really cool, beautiful details here. I think this is the last year they did this big book too, because the next year they didn't have a big book like this. This is the one that won the first prize, and I just thought it was very clever. She actually made embroideries that look like hooped embroideries, but she did them freehand. So this is really an incredible dress. So here's a close-up of it. Isn't that cool? So talented. So this was a really fun event for me to go to. But can I tell you my most favorite thing that happened the entire night? I mean, I won Viewer's Choice. It was very, very exciting. Let me just stop and say hi. All right, let me just back up here. Samina says, I saw your gorgeous entries when I went to the quilt festival. Oh, I'm so happy you had a chance to go. Oh, Diane says, yay for mom. These are just beautiful. Carol says, that's priceless comment from your mom. Thank you for sharing. That's amazing coat, jaw-dropping. Wait till you see it in person. I'm going to show you in person in 1 second. But just another fun story. Let me get my... Right, so this is my dusty portfolio. I just want to show you something here so you can get the full picture. I don't do hair or makeup, obviously you can tell. So I was trying to make my hair look big. I was trying to make like this updo. And I was actually on the phone with Pamela from the store, and she was trying to help me do my hair, and it was not working out for me. So I was wearing that night. These are all the other things I've designed here. I'm just looking for the one thing. Oh, see this right here? This is what I was wearing to the fashion show. Okay, this is a long silk charmeuse. It was my Tengor skirt that I designed a long, long time ago, and this it's seamed together with a reverse flat lock. And I just had this very, it looks like a plain tank top, but it's sort of a silk, pretty tank top. This is what I had on that night. So after the fashion show, and after I had won, my mom was with me again, we went back to the hotel, and there's a woman yelling and waving at me across the lobby, and I thought, oh, she must have been at the fashion show. So I walked over to it. I walked over to her, and she looks at me and she goes, "Are you a ballerina?" And I will always remember that. That is like one of my most favorite things, because I said to her, I'm like, "Have you seen me walk for a few feet?" Because I had on these really high, chunky heels to go with this dress, which I almost never wear. I'm a Birkenstock kind of girl. So the fact that she thought I was a ballerina, I was like, it must have been my hair. I ended up just putting back into like a bun ponytail like I normally do. But yeah, that was really kind of fun. All right, and then before I show you the real in-person coat, I also did an article for Threads. You may have seen this, and it's the Painting with Threads article, where I explain how to do that technique where I actually stitch around all of the, all around the embroideries to make a brocade fabric. And here I'm showing how to do it with a printed fabric. So if you don't have an embroidery machine, you could still get that technique by free motion scribbling around the motifs of the fabric instead of an embroidery. And this is a teaser for another garment I'm going to show you in a little bit. One of my other embroideries I did. All right, so that was fun. So let me show you now. I'm going to make it bigger. Okay, so let me just make it as big as I can. Let me make it a little lighter. Okay, so this is that coat. And I'll start at the hem. So I started with really dark magenta colors, and then as it goes up higher, it becomes lighter and lighter and lighter to almost like a white. Well, it does. It gets to white actually up here. So this is the center motif that's in the back. And you can see, I think you can see, there's not a single bit of the regular, it's a silk satin that I stitched on, but you can't see any of it. The only place you can see it is underneath this kind of, the open stitching. And if I were to show you, I'm just going to clip one of these tacks. Let me just cut this so I can show you inside. This is how you can get a good idea of all of the stitching that I did around the embroideries. And this is silk batting. And it was really a pleasure to work with. And then I also, you can see, I free motion stitched all of the velvet too. So I'll turn it back around so you can see that, but that's what the inside looks like. And here's my label. That's how I can keep track of when I did it. This one's, the Oscar goes to 2004. And on the top, I did a reverse. So I actually did like reverse applique, where I let the velvet show through. Let me see. Carol wants to know how long did this take me. These garments, all the next few garments I'm going to show you, basically took 6 months of my life between concept to finish. And so I would cram in embroidering. I had embroidery machines going all the time, whether I was at work, at the store, or at home. I was embroidering like a maniac. And actually, to get this, to get the overall design, I actually cut out pieces of, I printed out templates, life-size templates, and then I taped them to the actual pattern pieces. So I had a paper guide to show me where I wanted to actually put these things as I was going. But these remind me of that, that black velvet art. I don't know if it's spray painted or whatnot, but that's what this kind of reminded me of. And when I was making these, I thought they sucked. You know how you work on a long project for a long time and you look at everything and everything just looks gross to you? Well, at some point, that's what happened with this project. I really thought these were yucky, but I was encouraged to keep going, so I did. And then once it was done, I was like, wow. I really, this is the nicest thing I've ever made. So, and here you can see the close-up of the free motion. I think you can see maybe, I don't know if you can see or not. Oh, thank you guys. Absolutely gorgeous, speechless. Oh, hi. So beautiful. Oh, Lazarus, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everyone, if you're watching. Oh, definitely worth a while. Well, I just, this is just what I was doing at the time. I did it so much embroidery. Now, some of these designs I've redigitized and they're available. So if anyone embroiders and they would like some of these designs, if you check out my website at JSTER Designs, I have a mini collection of Oscar Goes To designs that I redigitized and I kind of cleaned them up and made them so they stitch out a little bit nicer. So these I do have available, some of them, if you're interested in that, and I'll put a link to them in the description after we're done. So that was this, and this did me in. This was a lot of work. So after that, the next one I did, let me just put this over here. Again, I was working with my sketches. So these are the sketches for the next one. And what did I do with that picture? Okay, and this is a picture of the, oops, make it a little less bright. No, I can't tell if that's a minute. There we go. All right, so I decided by now I wanted to do some jeans. So instead of doing denim jeans, I did leather jeans. And again, to practice, this was my practice pair. I worked with the designs that I created for this one, this entry, and this was the very next year after the one I just showed you. So I decided on white leather, and I'm using the same technique for the coat as I did for the one I just showed you, where I'm free motion stitching between all the embroideries. And I went from dark blue to light blue on this next one. Right, there's the coat. So I have these to show you. All right, so here is the outfit. Oh, maybe I make it a little bit bigger. Hold on. All right, so you might even be able to see on this one a little bit better that technique I was talking about, because it's a light color. All right, so these are the jeans. And I had a beautiful crystal for the button, and that did not come back with the entry. Here's my label. We're in 2006. The this entry was called "And Always for Leather." Oh, is the audio okay? Someone just said they couldn't hear. Let me know. I mean, I think I don't know. I don't know. My sound is working on my end. Is anyone else having trouble with sound in the video? From where I'm sitting, it's working. Oh, Diane says the sound is okay. I'm so sorry. Can you check and see if your sound is turned up on your computer? Sometimes that can happen. Oh, I hope you get that figured out. All right, so the other thing, so that was annoying that my button got absconded with, and I'll show you some of the buttons on the coat when you'll see what I mean. And, you know, I did embroidery. This is my own pattern, but let me just show you something else that's pretty funny. Apparently, I thought the models were going to be taller than they were, because they actually, let me see if I can turn this inside out here. They actually duct taped the hem up, and they cut the lining of my jeans like that. So see, sometimes when you do these things for a fashion show, you never know the way you're going to get them back. And actually, I probably should have untaped that a long time ago. But I guess, I think that ship has sailed now. I think that might be ruined, so I'll just leave it like that. But those were the jeans. And on the back pocket, here's the back pocket design. I put a little J there. And this is my signature back pocket style. I don't know if you can see it with the light. And then the top. Okay, this is, I did I put rows of silk organza through a pleater to get the plain sections, and I sewed it with the seam allowances face out to add to that ruffly effect. And then I embroidered and stitched through those and up here to get the top of the bodice. But see, this button right here, there was one of those on the jeans that didn't come back. But it's an actual beaded, hand beaded crystal turned into either a button or an embellishment. My friend Mary Beth Pfeiffer helped me make these. I mean, truth be told, I learned how to make them, but she actually did these for me. And see, there's little crystals in the straps. So that's the top. And then the jacket. And here's the jacket. And again, it has panels with the designs, and I free motion quilted between all the designs, so it goes from dark to light again. Oh good, you can hear now, thank you. No, there are side seams on the pants. So here's the thing, if you are embroidering on your jeans or pants that you're making, you actually sew the side seam and then embroider right over it. So that's why the seam doesn't really show. But this is a full fashioned pair of classic, 5-pocket jeans, and there is a side seam. But after I did some of the embroidery in the front, I sewed the side seam so I could embroider over it. Okay. And then this is the coat, and so it's silk organza with batting on the bottom, and the top is a very soft lavender suede, which I free motion stitched all over. I think you can see that. And I've got more of these buttons and button loops. in there. So this label, I think you can see this label better. Always in for leather. And the back is plain. Here's what the back looks like. You know, but that was, you know, that was a fun entry. Okay, so this was the year, this fashion show was in November, and then the fashion show I started this Fab Fit Friday with, the one I did for the Historical Society, that was in May of the following year. So I had one more Bernina Wearable Art entry to work on while I was doing my own fashion show. So I decided for this, I decided that what I was going to do is, I wish I could show this to you on a dress form, because I basically piled circles of silk organza together, and I free motioned stitched them in circles, and then I used shrinking thread, so they shrunk into these cool discs. And then I used ribbon to create more detail. So this is basically the dress, and you can see from the inside the way I constructed it. This is so non-traditional. I basically just, the bottom layer of each circle was ivory silk dupioni. So after I finished each one, I clean finished it with the serger, and I put it together like fish scales. So my goal for this fashion show was to not embarrass myself, because I was burnt out. So, you know, you go on these creative adventures, and after a while it gets exhausting. And I think by now I had done 2 fashion shows, and this was my 4th, yeah, 1, 2, 3, yeah, this was my 4th Bernina. So 6 years in a row I was doing this, and like I said, 6 months out of my life. So when I got to this one, I was just like, all right, let's create something that's not embarrassing. my goal wasn't to win anymore. It was just to create something that was really nice, that wasn't embarrassing. So the top, this makes like almost like a little bit of a halter here. So that fits like right here, and then the ribbons wrap around from the back to make shoulder straps. So that's how that, that's how you wear this. And it looked really pretty. Oh, and the closure here, these tied into, you know, they had little buttonholes, you know, so these overlapped and tied shut. And there were no wardrobe malfunctions with this, so it worked out really nicely. You know, and you can see the hem is just irregular. But it was a fun, this was a fun project. And then I used one of the patterns from the fashion show I was working on simultaneously to create a coat to go over it. So at the waist I used the pleater to pleat the silk ribbon as an inset for around the waist. And I did twin needle stitching. I hot fixed crystals, and then these are more of my original designs I did. They're like little snowflakes. You know, so this was just sort of a, you know, it's pretty. I think I met my goal of not embarrassing myself. So that was this, and I did a lot of pin tucking in the back to try to give it some shape. You know, and then I free motion quilted again across the entire garment. I can't take this apart because the lining is actually hand sewn to the inside, but you can see here are a couple of the circles, all of these different colored silk organzas that I piled up, you know, and then for the ones that are on the dress I shrunk them with the shrinking thread. But this was my Simply Brilliant. So that was my last entry, and then I did that fashion show. So I look at these things and I'm like, oh, I really want to. That's why I'm like loving getting back into embroidery. So you're going to see more and more things with embroidery coming from me, because I enjoy the whole process of sketching, scanning in, digitizing my own designs. So I'm going to start working on that more frequently, I think, because I really enjoy it. So, all right, well, I'm really kind of excited because I really wanted to, you know, share some of my fun with you on New Year's Day. I really thank everybody for joining me, because like I said, when I first started and when I first got going, I really thought I was almost going to be talking to myself. So thank you so much for joining me. This was really a lot of fun for me to drag all these things out and share them with you. They kind of become space wasters now in my closet because they do take up a lot of room. But yeah, this was really fun for me. Let me see. Carol says, so are you given a size to make? Yes, they're small sizes. So like a size 6 to size 8 are what all these garments are. Like I couldn't fit half of my body in these things anymore. At the time I fit into them, but I don't anymore. Let me see. Madeline says, thank you. This has been exciting and relaxing at the same time. Oh, I'm so happy it was exciting and relaxing. I'm really happy you joined me. Samina says, thank you for sharing. Oh, Janie says, inspiring to see. Oh, Diane says, thank you for sharing. Oh, Jane says, you never talk to yourself. Thank you, Jane. Is it freehand quilting? No, this is all machine work. Whether it's free motion on the machine or machine embroidery. I don't do hand very often. I don't have the patience to do things by hand. So if you ever see me say that I sewed something by hand, it was very necessary, because I'll do it when I have to. But other than that, I try to do everything on the machine. Not that hand sewing is not amazing and wonderful. So my hand sewing is knitting. I'm picking up knitting. So that's where I do my hand work. Oh, Carol says, this was a fun way to spend New Year's Day. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Marcia, thank you. Salika, I hope I didn't kill your name. I'm glad that you could hear now, and I'm sorry you had an issue with your audio. All right, so just to think ahead for starting in January, I finished the road trip wallet. So that's done. And I'm going to start something new with you guys on Friday next week. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but it'll be some other new project we're going to work on. Oh, Lazarus says the blue coat is so wearable. Yeah, it is. This is one that I would actually could wear out somewhere if it fit me. So, yeah. All right, so I think if there's no other questions, I think I'm going to wrap it up for today. But just know next week I have Fit Tip Tuesdays on a video upload on Tuesdays, and then I will have a Fab Fit Friday, starting something new, and then next weekend I'm also teaching the serger techniques for garment sewers, starting next weekend, the 9th and I think it's the 9th and 10th, or the 9th and 12th. Well, I know it starts on the 9th, so I'll be doing that next week too. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I really appreciate you taking your time to watch. If you have any questions about anything you saw here, just post them below and I will answer you. And if you have questions about things you're working on in your own studios, please post those too, because I love when you ask me questions, because sometimes if I'm without a topic that I want to talk about, I will do Q&A on Tuesdays. So definitely post your questions if you have them about something related to sewing, because I will absolutely help you. And it could become a video. So anyway, Jane says, I have learned so much from your tips. Oh, thank you, Jane. I'm really glad to hear that. Thank you so much. All right, so I think I'm going to be good. unless there's any other questions, I'm going to sign off, and I think I'm going to take the rest of today off and spend time with my husband, and then I'll kick things back in gear for next week. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Happy New Year, everyone. This is going to be our year. This is going to be our year. That's what I keep saying. And I will see you again next week. All right. Bye-bye. Happy New Year.